students. I am Priyanka Sinha from Careers Catalyst. Today, I am going to start a new chapter, Life Process of Class 10th Cbse. As you can see in front of your screen, the definition of life process. This is what the basic function performed by any living organism for their survival and body maintenance are called life process. We perform lots of function inside our body, like the function of growth and development. Okay, these all are defined as what? Life process. All the basic function, all the metabolic activities performed by any living organism for their growth and development or simply for their survival is defined as what? Life process. The four main life processes performed by any living organism are nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. In this chapter, life process, we are going to discuss about all these four types of life processes one by one. In this video, we will talk about the types of nutrition first. What is nutrition? Nutrition is basically the process of intaking of nutrients. It's very simple. If you intake nutrients inside your body for your growth and development, for your completion of basic activities or biological activities is defined as what? Nutrition. So nutrition is the process of intaking of what? Nutrients. And obviously, when we intake this particular nutrients, then we utilize this for our growth and development or simply for completion of our biological activities inside the body. So this is defined as nutrition. The nutrition a process. We intake what? Nutrients. So what are nutrients now? The nutrients are basically carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. These all are defined as what? Nutrients. This nutrients is very important for our growth and development. All the biological activities that we perform as a life process inside our body can be complete by the process of intaking of nutrients only. So this particular process of nutrition is very important because by this process only we get energy. By this particular process only we get what? Energy. So this is nutrition process. We will discuss about nutrition in detail, means to say what are the types of nutrition now. So let's talk about the modes of nutrition. There are basically two modes of nutrition, as we already discussed about these all things in earlier classes. So the first is what? Autotrophic mode of nutrition, and second is what? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So practically the mode of nutrition is divided in two parts. First is autotrophic and second is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now what is autotrophic mode of nutrition? This particular mode of nutrition, in this particular mode of nutrition, the organism can prepare their own food by using raw material, by using inorganic raw material from surrounding. This particular autotrophic mode of nutrition is basically completed by a green plant. Right. So as we can see the definition of autotrophic mode of nutrition here, this is what? The kind of nutrition in which organism can synthesize their own food. In this particular process, organisms are able to prepare their own food by using obviously the inorganic raw material which is present in our surrounding. Now next is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. This is a kind of nutrition in which organisms actually do not able to perform or prepare their own food by using inorganic raw material. So they depend on other organisms for their food. In this particular group of organism or in this particular mode of nutrition, whatever organism belongs, they are not able to prepare their own food by using inorganic raw materials. So they depend on autotrophs for their food, you can say directly or indirectly. Means to say if they are taking directly the plants, then it is the direct mode of nutrition, and if they depend on other animals for their food, then that is also defined as what? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So according to their mode of nutrition or according to their process of intaking of nutrients with different way, we categorize heterotrophic mode of nutrition in further parts. First, we will talk about autotrophic mode of nutrition. Then we will discuss about the types of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So what is autotrophic mode of nutrition that we discussed earlier? This is just a process of preparation of food by using inorganic raw material. Here a large group, that is plant, can prepare their own food. As we know, here they are using the inorganic raw material for the preparation of food. Now what are the inorganic raw material which they use for the preparation of food? That is what? Carbon dioxide and water. These two are the raw material, inorganic raw material, which they needed for the preparation of food, obviously in presence of sunlight. So all the green plants and few of bacteria also are able to do this particular autotrophic mode of nutrition. Like blue-green algae, they are able to perform photosynthesis because they also have a green pigment that is called chlorophyll. Because of that, they are able to trap solar energy and can prepare their own food by the process of autotrophic mode of nutrition. As you can say, all autotrophs are defined as what? Producer of food, because they are able to prepare food for us, right? There are some bacteria which defined as chemosynthetic autotroph, because they are using some chemicals which is produced by their body for the preparation of food in not presence of light. They actually prepare their food in absence of light sometimes in presence of other raw material rather than carbon dioxide and water. But still they are able to perform or prepare their own food by using inorganic raw material. That's why they also categorize as autotrophic organism, because they are able to create or prepare their own food by using inorganic raw material. Now we will talk about heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition is that mode of nutrition in which organism obviously cannot make their own food by using simple inorganic raw material. Example में क्या था? Carbon dioxide and water. These are the basic raw material, basic inorganic raw material that plants needed for preparation of food. So in heterotrophic group organism, they are not able to make or prepare their own food by using inorganic raw material. They directly or indirectly depends on what? Plants, or simply you can say autotrophs group of organism, because from there only they will able to intake nutrients. So heterotrophic can be considered as what? Consumer. We can consider heterotroph as consumer because they just consume the food that is prepared by the group of organisms that are defined as autotroph groups. All animals, including human beings, that all are defined as consumer, or you can say heterotrophs, right? Now we will differentiate or categorize the heterotrophic nutrition in lower and higher group of organism. As we know, the consumer group is very large. So there are few organisms which is defined as lower group of organism. There are few group of organism which is defined as higher group of organism. So according to their level of organization, the mode of nutrition is also divided here. Most of the heterotrophs takes complex material. Complex material they intake as a food, and obviously they break them and decompose it into simpler form. The lower heterotrophic organism derive their food from this particular two types of mode of nutrition. That is what? Saprophytic nutrition and parasitic mode of nutrition. All the lower group of organism do heterotrophic mode of nutrition only, but they perform this particular two types of process for utilization or consumption of food. So we will talk about saprophytic and parasitic mode of nutrition that is completed by lower group of organism. The saprophytic mode of nutrition is what? In this particular group, the organism depends on dead or decayed body for their food, right? In this particular group of organism, the organism depends on dead or decayed organism for their food. This is the mode of nutrition in which an organism obtain their food from dead and decayed bodies. This part is very important here, because in saprophytic mode of nutrition, the living organism depends on dead or decayed bodies for their food. As you can see, the rotten leaves, plants and decayed organic matter is called what? Saprophytic mode of nutrition. Here are some examples given. The fungi like mold, mushroom, yeast, and many bacteria. These all are what? Saprophytic organism, because they depends on dead or decayed organism for their food. Now we will talk about parasitic mode of nutrition. The parasitic mode of nutrition is one of the mode of nutrition in which organism obtain their food from living organism. Other living organism से वो अपना food obtain करते हैं. This is literally a process in which an organism lives as a host inside your body, and whatever you intake from there, they absorb that nutrients. Obviously, sometimes they kill the host also. So it may be dangerous for us also. The parasitic mode of nutrition, let's just discuss about the definition here. In this mode of nutrition, organism obtain their food from living organism. Other living organism, a parasite is literally one which lives on or inside the body of other living organism. It may be live on the body and sometimes inside the body also. And obviously whatever food you will intake, from there only they will absorb their nutrients without killing the host. But sometimes it may damage the host also, and even though sometimes they kill the host also. At that time, we will define that as pathogen, because that type of microbes or that type of organism, if they are killing you or giving you some harm, then we can define that as what? Pathogens. So all viruses, bacteria belongs to this particular group, जिसमें कि वो दूसरे organism में as a host रहते हैं and they just consume their food from that body only. Pathogens, parasites, which often produces disease. They are pathogen parasites because they are able to produce disease inside the body, inside the host body. So that particular or group of organism or that particular parasite group may be harmful to us also. Now we will talk about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition completed by higher group of organism. The higher group of organism perform halozoic mode of nutrition, because in this particular mode of nutrition, organism feed on solid food, means to say the complex food, and then they just decompose or utilize or break that particular food inside the body by a process of digestion. In this particular process, the complex food or the solid food is digested by a living organism in different steps. It refers to the nutrition in higher organism like human and animal. They all perform this particular halozoic mode of nutrition. This particular group, higher group of animal, is divided in three different further parts. That is herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. What are herbivorous animals now? The group of animals that feed only on plant, they feed only on plant, that particular group of organism is defined as what? Herbivorous group of animals like cow, buffalo. These all are the example because they all depends on only plant body for their growth and development or simply for their mode of nutrition. Now second group is carnivorous group of animal. These animals feed on flesh of other animals, like they just depends on flesh or meat of other animals. The examples are lion, tiger, bear. Listen, these all things we already discussed earlier. We know about these all things, but still we need to recall these all things in this particular chapter. So that's why next is what? Omnivorous animal. They feed on both, sometimes in plant and animal both. So this particular group of organism is defined as omnivorous animal. For example, man, rat, pig. These all are the example of what? Omnivorous group of animals, because they feed on both plants and even animals also. As you can see here in this particular diagram, all the complex organism, all the higher group of organism who eat on complex food can be categorized as herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. This particular group of organism, as you can see in diagram, these all are defined as what? Herbivorous group of animal, because they feed on plant only. This particular group of organism is defined as what? Carnivorous, because they depends on meat or flesh of other organism, and this particular group of organism who depends on both, sometime on wheat and sometime on green plants also, they are defined as omnivorous group of organism. In this particular slide, we completed about the types of nutrition. So I'm concluding this particular video here only. In next video, we will talk about the types of nutrition, or simply the mode of nutrition completed by plant. Okay, thank you.